It was Joe being Joe. What can you say? Uncle Joe, old sleepy Joe. He was a little tired, I must admit. you Trump has a way of naming these people that is so accurate, like Pocahontas, like Little Rubio, Little Marco, Little Marco. I often say to people that the media is just so full of inaccurate information. It's just so inaccurate. It's just so one sided. It's so you can't believe anything that you kind of read or hear in TV in media. You can't hear in reality check because we always check our stuff out. We're on it. We're on top of it. We check out what we're talking about. We we source it. We do what we have to do. But I can tell you, talking to old Joe last night was like talking to an old Uncle Joe. So I hope you all have had similar experiences when you run into these people, because at the end of the day, they put their pants on the same way we do. They breathe the air, same air we breathe. They eat the same food that we eat, although it may cost us a little more. Trump is meeting with world leaders during this NATO summit, and he's having fun. He's kicking it, man. He's just, he's having fun out here. And I can't blame him. I mean, the guy, he's doing what we are paying him to do, which is to go out and represent America. What did he say? He said, I'm not the president of the world. I'm not a citizen of the world. I'm a citizen of the United States of America. And I'm here to represent the interest of the United States of America, not the world. See, that's where we get into trouble, trying to represent the world. And so when they go around spending our money like drunken sailors, instead of letting drunken sailors spend their money, the Congress is spending our money, whether it's on arms for these foreign countries or providing them with economic aid or military aid, or are sending our personnel to do their fighting. Something's wrong with that picture. I don't ascribe to it at all. Never have, never will. So count me out. Like I said about Israel, there's no reason why we need to keep paying $20 billion a year to Israel for economic and military aid. Why? They're a very prosperous country, very rich country. Oh, but, I don't know if you know this or what it broke, while I was away. And that is Kamala Harris is out of the race. She's lost her money. Hey, folks, she couldn't get people to step up to the plate, write those checks. But Senator Kamala Harris is done. She's withdrawing from the race after failing to capitalize on early enthusiasm for her campaign and watching her poll numbers collapse. I didn't say this. That's what her campaign said. She goes on to say that in good faith, I can't tell you, my supporters and volunteers, that I have a path forward if I don't believe I do. Harris wrote in an email to supporters. So to you, my supporters, it is with deep regret, but also with deep gratitude that I am suspending my campaign today. So she can get up and go back to just kind of kicking it, kicking it in the Senate. It's a cush job, man. Really, they have great facilities, great quarters. There's not a bad office in the whole damn building, and the building is new, by the way. Beautiful building, beautiful building. So, an aide to Harris said that she informed the staff today that she was ending her White House bid. She took a lot of bad heat from some of her former staffers over the weekend. And I think that may have contributed to her terminating her presidential, where she just couldn't pay people. She couldn't pay people. She couldn't reposition them, or she was asking people to be repositioned who, were finding themselves, out of a job in her organization. So anyway, I'm glad she landed on her feet. She's back in the Senate. And I wonder how much of that campaign money she kept. But, Camilla entered the race back in January of this year as a top contender and has had a breakout moment in the first debate thanks to a remarkable clash with then the frontrunner Joe Biden over his record on desegregation and busing. But she struggled to shine through in subsequent debates and has seen her poll numbers drop. And in November, she added, it's dramatically, her staff, she dramatically cut her staff in New Hampshire last month in November. And the state that holds the first primary in the race for the White House to focus on Iowa. So she cut staff in New Hampshire to focus on Iowa, biggest state, more delegates, et cetera, et cetera. Man, can't make this stuff up, people. Wish you could, but can't. So, were there possibly snakes out there? Who knows? I tell you. Ms. Harris. Well, thank you, Camilla. You provided the presidential campaign nominee process with some glaringly great moments, some real tidbits and snippets of clarity and sharpness. like Vice President Biden, I was that girl who was bussed into Berkeley. Hey, just saying. You can't make this stuff up, people. Can't make it up. But she's fallen short and she's out. Big crowded race. So I guess Beto O'Rourke was the biggest name who had dropped out before Camilla. But we know now that Camilla is through. She said that she had mixed emotions about it because she's really a solid person. Wow. That's what Biden said of Camilla. As the word spread that her dropping out on Tuesday would happen, her husband, Douglas Emhoff, tweeted, I've always got you. I've got you, as always. That's great. She took a great picture, too, with her husband. They're all hugged up. He's holding her. It's great. First Black woman attorney general and U.S. Senator in California's history. She was widely viewed as a candidate, poised and excited. The same segment of voters that sent Barack Obama to the White House. But she's no Barack Obama. And at the end of the day, that's all over. Barack disappointed a lot of people. And so did Miss Harris, especially when you look at her book and she doesn't include Willie Brown. Okay. We know that Willie Brown was her mentor. That's who Willie is. That's what he does. That's Willie. Okay. Tulsi Gabbard. She rips Camilla on her record as a California prosecutor. Yeah, she did. She did a good job of that. So she had a lot of issues to deal with, man, that she was on the wrong side of, because she was Popo. She was the prosecuting attorney for the police. Police would come in with a charge and she'd put it in the legalese and get busy and put people in jail. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But it is when you're trying to run a liberal agenda and say, well, we're not going to arrest criminals who steal over or who steal under $1,000. That's what Kim Fox said here in Chicago. You're still under 950, and we're not going to arrest you. You're still under $950. We're not going to prosecute charges. Wow. You talk about just giving the public carte blanche to go out and steal. Yeah, you could. Well, anyway, I'm going to, let's see here. Buttigieg. He hits back after Biden claims he stole his health care package. I'd love to hear that, but I don't think it will probably come through the phone because I haven't pre-taped it yet. Let's see. You may not do it. Well, the reality with Buttigieg is he's homosexual. Black people, they're not accepting of homosexual or homosexual activities. Just the way it is. They can pass all the laws they want. Black people live by a higher code, and that is the Bible and God. We're very worshiping, God fearing people. That's always lost in the discussion for some reason. Even with Dr. King, people forget 9 times out of 10, he was sitting in a church with some catfish and some grits, some jello, some cornbread, having dinner. I mean, he never got really far away from his base, from his people. It's not like that anymore. But some people, like Stu Varney of Fox, he's predicting that Bloomberg is going to be the nominee. I don't think so. Bloomberg is a real dictator, much more so than Trump. But who would know it? I mean, I have on right now. I have on some khaki pants, a sweater. Just kind of kicking it. But these other folks, they come with a suit, tie, and you go, where the hell are they coming from? What do they want? Are we on the same stick here? Like last night, when you go to my webpage or you go to my Facebook and you look at, I'm basically in some black pants, black top, and on my way to play a little squash and get a massage, lift some weights, and I really wasn't dressed up. I was just kind of kicking it. But the people who attended the fundraiser for Biden, they were clean as the Board of Health, man. They, everybody got suited up, showed up, and wrote their man a check. Now, this guy, Mike Steyer has always kind of not threatened me, but I just don't get a good feel for this guy, Mark Steyer. He thinks he can buy the election. He, he says that Biden is trying to, he's too old and he's out of touch, and he's truly, his daily gibberish is just out of touch And that's no malarkey. That's what David Trump says. I love it. Wow. Anyway, I know one thing. It's been a long day, and it's only 1 o'clock. Um, Pete Buttigieg. Not going to happen. Biden said he doesn't need Obama's endorsement amid reported criticism. Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Is he pushing back on the president or what? Biden's coming out swinging. Hoop, hoop, hoop. I don't need your endorsement, Mr. President. I can do it on my own. That is too funny, isn't it? I think that is. I think that's too funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. I'm glad that Biden's having fun. Look, he was having fun last night. He was just kind of drifting through, man. He's had something to do. He's been his vice president for 8 years, and he's on the sidelines for another 4. So he's ready to get back in it, ready to get in the mix it up a little bit, have something to do. I don't blame him. Nice guy though, really nice guy. Liked him. There is at the center of our trade pact talks, the U.S. MCA. Right at the heart of these talks are drug rules. Nobody's talking about that, but many Democrats backed urban labor unions and consumer groups, and they're pushing the administration to reduce the length of time that leading biogenic drugs would be protected under generic initiators, okay, in the U.S., Mexico, Canada, under the U.S. MCA agreement. Now, it's a sticking point. Nobody's really talking about it. And the Canadians have gotten away with bloody murder in that you could go to Canada and buy same drug that the pill would cost us, say, $15, cost them too. The question is why? You think that $13 they're making off of us that's why these drug companies are making money, man. They're gouging the American people. And Trump said, hey, if anybody's going to gouge us, it's going to be us for one thing. And I'm not going to let the American people be gouged by anyone, American companies or foreign companies or anyone. Super. That's why we have Trump in office, the Donald, to do our bidding. The accord, which must be ratified by Congress, right now It protects drugs for 10 years, and that computes to about 12 years under U.S. law. Democrats and other uh, folks want the time period reduced, or at least new language that will allow reduction in 10 years if the U.S. deposits are changed. Okay, cool. Let them go for it. Get this drug deal done, get the USMCA in place. Let's start doing business. Let's see if the USMCA is going to bring almost 200,000 jobs back to America. Let's see. But it seems like that's the bill of goods they're selling to Congress, knowing all the time if Donald Trump is in office, he will invalidate the agreement if it doesn't work like he thinks it's supposed to work. I'm looking at a picture right now of Frontier Airlines grounded in Albany International Airport. I think that's one of their big hubs. They advertise it all the time. But let's be clear, Frontier is no discount airline. No discount airline. There's a guy named Bullock. First name, I think, is Steve. Steve Bullock, yeah. He campaigned by the 2000, the Montana governor, Steve Bullock, who campaigned for the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination by emphasizing his record of winning in conservative states. Monday said he was dropping out of the race. Never heard of Bullock. Never heard of him. I'm sure he was there, but when you start talking about 20 people, man, how many can you keep up with? How many do you want to keep up with? How many are you reading about? How many are you not reading about? We don't know because they don't tell us, those countries, because they're socialist. I don't even think a socialist gets up and puts on his own socks. In fact, I know that they don't. I mean, where I have this nice, soft, kind of sad thing going. No, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Hunter Biden. Oh, my good buddy. God, Hunter Biden. My good buddy, Duncan Hunter. Totally different subject. Duncan Hunter Jr., actually, congressman from San Diego. I knew Duncan's father, Duncan Hunter Sr. He was a great guy, just a terrific human being, terrific American. He's still alive in the San Diego area. Duncan was accused of, he had 4 counts of taking money, embezzling money, whatever you want to call it. And his wife had, I don't know, they didn't say, but he's looking at 36 months for taking the plea on one charge. So it's federal court, so he has to do it all the time. So he'll be okay. Get back out. We'll get together and hang a little bit. Man, oh man. Amazing. Duncan Hunter. Duncan got busted taking roughly $250,000 out of his campaign coffers. He'll be all right. Just he was a big Trump supporter, and president's going to really miss him. I don't know if Darrell Issa is going to run for that office, and I hope Darrell wins. Darrell's a good man, always was, but he got kind of blued out of his seat because all of these illegal immigrants started voting in his districts, and he couldn't win. So he decided not to run because he couldn't win, and then the seat opened up with Duncan Hunter. So Good for him. Good for him. I hope he makes it. I hope he makes it. I hope ISA runs. The government asked the justices to clear federal executions. What? What does that mean? The Trump administration is asking federal judges to, this group of federal judges, they asked them yesterday to reinstate a series of executions that the Justice Department had scheduled to begin next week after two lower courts blocked the federal authorities from imposing the death penalty while inmates pursue legal challenges. The filing came hours after the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, uh, better known as the Appeals Court of D.C., I think they're the Second Circuit. I don't know. Anyway, they refused to override and overrule a federal district judge who last month found that the Justice Department's plans to execute each of four condemned men with a lethal injection of propanol likely violated the Federal Death Penalty Act of 1994. That law requires that federal executions be conducted in the manner prescribed by the state and where the inmate's convicted. So if you're in Oklahoma, you might get an injection of one thing. If you're in Michigan, you may get an injection of something else. And if you're in DC, who knows if they're going to take you out. But Trump administration has asked for and will probably receive permission to go ahead with executions. Nothing wrong with that. Hopefully it's a deterrent. The DC Circuit unsigned order would stand only that the Justice Department had satisfied the stringent requirements for a stay that was pending appeal. So if your case is not up for appeal and you're up for being executed, guess what? You're gonna get the needle, buddy. No go back to bed for you. So the Supreme Court will have the final say, however, and members of its conservative majority have expressed skepticism with what they consider last minute plays to condemn murderers to delay execution. Wow. Amazing. You can't make this stuff up. So the Trump administration is going to make sure that they start executing people again. That's just the way it is. Judge Chetland found that the inmates had made a strong enough argument to justify at least a temporary delay in their execution so they could litigate their claims in court. That's what it says, litigate. So the Justice Department and the Supreme Court application stress the depravity of the inmates' crimes. Each had been convicted of killing at least one child, and it's belief if that already had been exhausted their legal chairs and claims. The federal government has executed only 3 people in the 21st century. The last in 2003, and national trends uh, showing that the death penalty is in decline. Mm, who knows? You never know about these things. But look, we need to take a little break. Come back to you, and man, it is hot out here. And then you kind of kick over. But let's see here. Where are we? Um, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with some news for you. We'll talk about some other cases. Wish we had a call in number. Our phones are down right now. They'll be back up hopefully sometime this week. But right now they're down, unfortunately. And we're just kind of winging it. That's what we do. Get out here in front of it and hey, let's hang out. Uh, let's see. Libraries. No, I don't need those. Okay. Okay. So we're going to play a little Christmas music and we'll be right back as soon as Charles takes a little break. Here we go. Silent Night by The Temptations. Here we go. Oh yeah, little Dennis Edwards there. Christ, our Savior. Anyway, that was attempts. So we'll cut that off. And of course, all of us know someone who's had breast cancer and or is prone to breast cancer. So we need to step up and make sure that those people are protected. And you should look at Blue Ribbon, the Blue Ribbon Cancer Plan. You can call our 800 number and get a quote at 877 659. I think it's 5962. But that's what you need to do. Protect you and yours from the ravages of cancer. So we'll be right back here shortly. Talk about the Blue Ribbon Cancer Treatment Plan. Okay, when we left off, we were talking about the death penalty and the fact that only 3 people have been killed in the 21st century on the federal level with the death penalty. A lot more folks out there got the death penalty than that, you can be sure. Mayor Lori Lightfoot happens to be the mayor of Chicago. She fired our police superintendent. Said he was out cavorting with a woman who was not his wife. Said he lied to her. He lied to the public, and she fired him. Wow. Eddie, you should have been out with another guy. She would have probably let you retire in peace, dude, but you were out with a woman, you heterosexual you. But Ed was a good man, is a good man, and I don't know. I just hope that he can retire, get his money. He'll get his money and get on with his life. He's given a lot of pain and everything to the people of Chicago. So Eddie, Superintendent Eddie Johnson, good luck. Sorry you had to go out this way. Like I said, you should have been out with another dude. You would probably gotten treated a little better. The GOP report. I haven't really read it myself, so I really don't know what it says, but I want to try to get my hands on it. But supposedly, the GOP report that's been issued by the House Intelligence Committee and the ranking member, Devin Nunes, has said that there is no there with the president and Ukraine. There is no there. If you've read the transcript, if you read it for yourself, if you listen to the transcript, you know that there is what? No there. Democrats can't seem to wrap their heads around that, though. They know that there's something there. There has to be, because it has to do with with Mr. Trump, and we have to impeach the president. Impeach him for what? Dude's gonna win, man. Landslide. It's not. This goes to the Senate. The Senate's not gonna take it up. It's bogus. And so, Mr. Trump's support for providing Kiev with lethal defense weaponry made him a stronger ally of Ukraine than his predecessor, Barack Obama, who provided the Ukraine with blankets. So the GOP's arguments have been made before, but Republicans are now developing their ideas more fully and consolidating them into a single report to provide a counterweight to the report being compiled by the House Intelligence Committee Chair, Adam Schiff. Lawmakers on the committee will have 24 hours to review Mr. Schiff's report. starting Monday evening, and that was last night, before the panel votes to send it to the Judiciary Committee, which traditionally is responsible for impeachment. Now, the Judiciary Committee is being chaired by a real moron, this guy Nadler. Nadler's never had a real job in his life. He left law school, went to New York, and ran for Congress, and he's been there ever since with his fat behind. Fat, doofless, no guts individual. Just saying. Did I say all that? Yeah, I did. I meant it too. Nadler is going to push for impeachment. He said that already. He said when the president came into office, he's going to impeach the president. Impeach him on what? I kept saying, why? And there's only 4 things you can impeach a president for: bribery, treason, high crimes, and misdemeanors. All of which nothing in the transcript or the phone conversation with President Zelensky rose to the level of. Now, are we talking about policy or are we talking about breaking the law? We're talking policy. Can't impeach him over policy. Sorry, guys. Also, we talked about this yesterday a little bit. Maybe it was last night. But the Supreme Court heard a case on the Second Amendment where the city of New York had said that a lawful gun owner couldn't take his gun outside the city of New York to shoot or to, take it on the road with him or her. So the city has said that at issue was a New York City rule. This is a New York City rule now. We have a constitution, and you have Democrats in New York City making their own rules about guns. Forbidding gun owners, this is New York City, forbidding gun owners with a location-specific license from taking their weapon outside the 5 boroughs. But the New York State legislature already had passed a law eliminating such local restrictions, and the city repealed its challenge regulation, apparently granting the plaintiffs everything they had asked for. And the city argued eliminating any rationale for the Supreme Court review because they felt that the Supreme Court was going to strike down the whole law in the state of New York, all the restrictive gun covenants and laws in New York. They should be struck down. You should not be penalized for the zip code you live in. Sorry. Shouldn't be penalized for the zip code you live in. So lawyers for the gun owners and for the Trump administration have argued that there are legal grounds that remain for the Supreme Court to issue a wide-ranging ruling that could do many local weapons rules. Like here in Chicago, you can only have a 15 mag clip. You can only have a 10 mag clip. Why would you need a 30 mag clip? So you wouldn't have to reload when you're on the range shooting, you moron. But anyway, the administration's lawyer is Deputy Solicitor General Jeffrey Wall. And he said the case should remain alive since the plaintiffs could still seek damages from the city for its past deprivation of their constitutional rights. But the plaintiffs didn't ask for damages when they filed the suit years ago because they didn't know that the city and the state were going to repeal the laws. They should have asked for damages. Oversight on their lawyers' part. Now, the National Rifle Association has chimed in and said that despite the changes in the state law and local rules, the city still left itself enough wiggle room to frustrate his clients. For instance, he said, the municipal rule required that travel to firing ranges and other destinations beyond city limits be continuous and uninterrupted. So, does that mean I can't stop for a bathroom break? Does that mean I can't stop for a coffee break? Does that mean I can't stop to pick up a friend to go to a shooting range or a deer farm or pheasant farm with me? because the law says that that travel has to be continuous and uninterrupted. Can I stop and get an ice cream cone uninterrupted? Can I stop and get a donut? I can tell you this: when I drive from here to Detroit, from Chicago to Detroit, I stop and get donuts at this donut place called Sweetwater Donuts. They have the best donuts in the U.S. Well, I can't tell that lie. They have great donuts. But between Sweetwater Donuts and Randy's Donuts in LA, oh my God. Oh my God. They're great donuts. Love them. But anyway, so the state allows itself some wiggle room and the city allowed itself wiggle room. And the gun advocates are saying, the gun rights people are saying, we want all these covenants taken out. We want all these restrictions taken out, and rightfully so. So those issues and not the scope of the Second Amendment were the only ones to prompt questions from Chief Justice John Roberts, whose relatively centralist position on gun rights over the past decade indicates he could cast a deciding vote. Now, Clarence Thomas has called all of the justices out on shirking the Second Amendment issues and running away from the Second Amendment if it's not a right, and the other rights are more important. The other 9 rights are important. Clarence is very clear. He said, "Hey, wait a minute. You all need to address the gun rights issue." Justice Thomas, I love it. Justice Thomas is all over it. He's like, "Hey, wait a minute. We're shirking our responsibility here. We need to rule on and take on Second Amendment cases. It's a right too." So I'm just saying, I remember reading that article. Was it this year or last year that Clarence Thomas called him out? Let's see here. Impatient. Yeah, it was last year, February of last year. Oh no, of 18. It says Thomas impatient at SCOTUS inaction on the Second Amendment in January and February of last year. Of 18 and 19, he called him out this year. It says here, call to arms at the Supreme Court, New York Times article. See, you have to kind of connect these dots, because when you do, it becomes very apparent what's going on. They say a specter is haunting the Supreme Court, and disrespect for the Second Amendment. And perhaps you haven't realized that the court's disinclination to expand its landmark 2008 decision, creating an individual right up to gun ownership, means that justices are treating the Second Amendment as a second-class right, a watered-down right, a disfavored right, according to Justice Thomas. And he stood up and said, "Hey, it's not a second-class right. It's a first-class right. We need to deal with it." So I'm sure he'll be in conference with his colleagues, and he'll be dealing with the issue of the Second Amendment in this case in New York, which is a great case. So look, we're not even going to talk about the McDonald versus City of Chicago case, but we'll come back. We're going to talk about all this stuff tomorrow. Right now, we need to focus on the fact that Kamala Harris dropped out of the 2020 race. Bam. Who else is going to drop out? Look like it's going to come down to Biden, Buttigieg, Warren. Who else? Tulsi Gabbard, maybe. Don't know. Oh, and then we still have Bloomberg, who can stay in the race as long as he wants because he can keep buying ads and whatever. But he's certainly not a man of the people. Hey, but look, I want to thank you for tuning in and bearing with us here. It's been an interesting day for me. Hope it's been an interesting day for you. We're going to conclude with little Stevie Wonder, Someday at Christmas. Is that what we're going to play? Oh, let's play OJ's. OJ's Christmas Just Ain't Christmas. Have a good one, folks. Merry Christmas to you. Okay. Bye.